We're thrilled that you came to join us. I want to make a couple of introductions. My name is Alan Adler. I do communications for General Motors Fuel Cell and R&D Communications, and also support Charlie Freeze on my right, and Dr. Rogers, who will introduce very quickly. Both gentlemen will make some remarks. We're going to keep you in suspense for just a few minutes longer, because if we had them talk after we pulled the sheet, you wouldn't listen. So we're going to take a chance that you will listen this way. So I'm going to hand the mic to Charlie for a few remarks, and he'll be followed by Dr. Rogers. Charlie?
Thank you, Alan. Good morning. Good morning. That's not so good. Good morning. Good morning. We're very excited about this. We've been waiting about 12 months to show you what we're going to show you here. So General Motors has been working in the fuel cell business for about 50 years this week, actually. It's a very important week for us, because the very first hydrogen fuel cell vehicle that's ever been developed was done about 50 years ago this week. And it was an electro van. It took a van to move all the equipment around. So it had a long way to go before it got to what we're showing you here today. But what is interesting is GM has been on this path to develop the fuel cell technology and find the places where it makes sense. And when we started electrifying our vehicles and putting them on the road, it was interesting how quiet they were. The very first vehicles, when we were putting them into pedestrian interactions in a parking lot, the problem was they would sneak up on people too easily. You wouldn't know they were there. And that's actually a very interesting attribute when you start talking about some of these other places to put fuel cells, and that's one of the things Dr. Rogers will talk to you about here today. But it also brings an electric drive system, which gives us very aggressive low-end torque, and torque across the entire vehicle speed range with a zero-emission technology that doesn't make odor, no smoke, and it gives us a very efficient powertrain with a very long mission profile. So we can start thinking about vehicles that can hit the 300 to 400 mile range while being electrified. And for GM, where we're looking at the ability to develop off-road, extreme off-road capability, we wanted to merge our off-road technology from our vehicles along with the zero-emission capability of an electric drive and a fuel cell system, and see what that would do. It just happens that the same characteristics that make that so interesting for someone like our customers, our civilian customers that work off-road, those same characteristics are also interesting for our partners in the Army, because they also have those types of interests. They want the capability to have very aggressive torque capabilities for off-road mobility, the ability to have zero emissions, and when you add in a few of the other things that we can bring along for the ride, like the ability to export power at 25 kilowatts continuous or 50 kilowatts peak, and do it over all the different types of terrain because of the mobility that the vehicle offers, that's a great combination of technologies. So that's basically what brought us to where we are today. We decided that we wanted to see how those technologies manifest themselves in a demonstration vehicle, and you're going to see that demonstration vehicle here with the ZH2. So Dr. Rogers.
Well, good morning. That is exactly why we're excited about what's under this hood. It's the potential, and that's the word that I want to emphasize here today, is potential. Everything that Charlie just described speaks to the potential this offers our men and women in uniform in the future. What this project is about is exploring the potential that this offers us, not only from the warfighting capability, but the positive effects on the environment, and also easing some of the logistical burden that exists. So not just using hydrocarbon fuels or JP8 to extract the hydrogen, but also looking at other sources such as water or other local regional sources of hydrogen. So there is a potential to help ease the demand on our resupply and our logistical supply. So this project over the next year will explore that technical potential. We will also have soldiers involved at three different sites for soldiers, and Marines involved at one site to use the vehicle and give us soldier feedback while we are collecting the technical details and data that we are envisioning. There's another very important potential, and this is a big deal, as we're looking at better buying power, as we're looking at new business models, new business paradigms. What Charlie just described to you was industry investing in a technology for decades to the tune of close to, can I say the number? $4 billion. The Army's not going to invest $4 billion to explore a future powertrain. We're not going to do that. So here's an opportunity where industry innovation is leading the state of the art, And DOD is now coming in on their heels and collaborating to look at the military potential of that new technology. That's very exciting. And that's a business model we are starting to use more and more. You can see it in some of the booths around here, but this is a classic example where the mobility, the personal mobility, the transportation, the auto industry is way out in front. They're leading the charge. We will come in and reap the benefits of the technology maturation and the sustainment, logistics, maintenance, experience, and knowledge base that they've already created. So with that, should we?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chevrolet Colorado ZH2.
So,
I don't have a microphone, so anything else? Got it. So what you can see here is a vehicle that we've developed using the Chevrolet Colorado, and we've got it's basically, there are two different wheelbases for the Colorado. There's a long wheelbase and a short wheelbase. This is sitting right in between the two. And you'll notice a lot of characteristics. For instance, the cab has the same proportions and geometry as the Colorado, but we did make some slight modifications on the front and rear end of the vehicle because we've got 37-inch tires and a very capable off-road capability on the vehicle with the suspension system that's in place. Under the hood is a fuel cell system, so we're taking hydrogen out of tanks that are in the rear of the vehicle, supplying it to the fuel cell stack, which is also supported by balance of plant components under the hood. We have the traction drive motor sitting about this location in the vehicle, and that runs into a full four-wheel drive system. And we also have the ability, if you look in the back of the vehicle, there is an area where we have an exportable power takeoff system. So that's where we can take the 25 kilowatts back off the vehicle to external requirements, and that can be done either at 120 or 240 volts. The vehicle's also designed so that it's quite nimble. You can look at the front approach and the departure angles for off-road mobility. We've got 38 and 48 degree angles and about 11.8 inches of ground clearance. So that gives you just kind of a high-level overview of the vehicle, and we're going to be around the booth here so we can answer any questions that you have. There are a couple things that we didn't really spend much time on that I think might interest some of you. For instance, the ability to make water, because that is the only thing other than a little bit of heat that comes out of the fuel cell system. We make about 2 gallons of water an hour. So when you talk about being in areas where you have to bring your water and your fuel with you, that might be an interesting byproduct that comes out of having a fuel cell system. So anything I missed, Dr. Rogers?
No, I think that's perfect. I think now we invite people up to see the vehicle and climb in it, get to experience it.
All right, thank you.
Great to see you guys. You too. You guys are looking good as well. Check it out. I'm sorry. Of course, you guys. This is the new sheriff's car.
I just looked at it. BOH? Yeah. This has certifications for testing at industrial environments. That's not on our immediate plan right now. We have 4 sites. We have Quantico that we're in talks with right now. We have Fort Bragg, Fort Benning, and Fort Carson. Those are the 4 areas. We have 25th RU. Except, of course,
points for the Recaro seats and the 4-point harnesses. Otherwise, we got Recaro's back there.
Yeah, that's fun.
Hey everybody, this is Sean Holman from Truck Trend, and here we are on Facebook Live at the AUSA conference in Washington, D.C. And behind me, we just followed along as Chevrolet and GM unveiled the new Colorado-based ZH2 concept for the Army. This is a hydrogen-powered vehicle, has a fuel cell, is basically being used to test the concept of a hydrogen-powered powertrain for future vehicles. The military will have this vehicle for about 12 months and go through an evaluation period. And so what you have behind me here again is the Chevy Colorado ZH2 concept, a military vehicle that is under evaluation by the U.S. government to test the idea of hydrogen-powered and fuel cells in a combat environment. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. I'll show you a couple more videos of the truck. I'll walk around it one more time. And if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and post, and we'll answer them if we can. All right, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll look at the truck one more time here.
That's right. Okay. All right. Yeah.
A couple of family challenges. Yeah. Thank God. Yes, sir. So we'll do that. Come on, let him do it.
And the truck has 37-inch tires on it, which is quite a bit bigger, obviously, than the stock Colorado. If we look underneath it, it's kind of hard to see just because there's not a lot of light. But there's this very special shock going on here, and we'll be able to tell you more about it in the near future. There you go. So you kind of see the suspension. More on this, we can't talk about it yet, but in a few weeks we'll be able to tell you more. If you are curious about this suspension setup, it's very similar to the spy photos of the new Colorado that we posted on trucktrend.com not too long ago. So take a look at those, and you'll know all the things that you probably shouldn't know yet. All right, again, this is Sean Holman for Truck Trend. Please ask any questions online, and we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.